afternoon, and welcome to this Tuesday, October 23rd edition of Westman Newsline, our first show of the 2012-2013 season. I'm Colton Yarch alongside Jordan Olson and Dylan Donald. In today's news, we'll tell you about the sentence handed down to a drunk driver who killed an 11-year-old girl and bring you a story from the high school rodeo that took place in Brandon on Sunday. And Jordan will be in with sports. Jordan, understand the Brandon Wheat Kings' newest member is excited about the opportunity to play for the local squad.
That's right, Colton. Former Red Deer Rebel Chad Robinson is expected to be in the Wheats lineup tonight in Victoria. All of that story and more later on in sports.
Thanks, Jordan. And Dylan will be in with weather. Dylan, it's really soggy outside. Any chance of this rain ending anytime soon?
Colton, I'm sorry to say the short answer is no. The rain is supposed to continue most of the day and this evening as well. So get out your rain boots and prepare to dodge a few puddles on the way home. Currently in Brandon, it's 4 degrees with light rain. Winds are out of the east at 22 kilometers an hour. I'll have all your weather details later on in the show.
Thanks, Dylan. A 4-year prison term has been deemed appropriate for a drunk driver who killed an 11-year-old Sioux Valley Dakota Nation girl named Scarlett Wandiska last July. Ronalda Stephanie Ross was sentenced by Judge Shauna Hewitt Mikta in Brandon Provincial Court on Monday. Members of Wandiska's family said yesterday, while nothing could bring the youngster back, they were satisfied with the sentence. Wandiska and some friends were riding their bikes in the gravel alongside Highway 21 when they stopped to admire some horses. Ross admitted she saw the girls, but when her cell phone rang, she looked away from the road. When she heard the sound of the collision, she pulled over and called 911. Ross was arrested at the scene and charged with impaired driving causing death, driving with a blood alcohol level over the legal limit causing death, and with careless driving under the Highway Traffic Act. In light of accidents similar to the one that claimed Scarlett Wandiska's life last year, police are urging motorists to heed warnings about the risks of dangerous driving following a string of severe crashes in Manitoba. 3 men were critically injured and 1 man was killed over the weekend in motor vehicle collisions. The latest crash occurred early yesterday morning on the Henderson Highway. Police say a man lost control of his vehicle, which slammed into a tree. So far this year, 10 people have died in the provincial capital following motor vehicle collisions. Winnipeg's new police chief is hoping for divine intervention to diminish the number of crimes in the city. He wants people of all faiths to pray for a better and safer community. Chief Devin Clunas says if people are praying for their neighbors, then they won't be hating them or fighting with them. Clunas was named Winnipeg's 17th Chief of Police earlier this month and has also served as a chaplain with the force. Arthur Schaefer, an ethicist at the University of Manitoba, says the new chief should keep religion and police work separate. An adult sentence is being sought for a 16-year-old boy who admitted to killing a Winnipeg pizza restaurant worker with an axe. The teen, who can't be named under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, pleaded guilty last week to second-degree murder and will be sentenced in January. If raised to adult court, he would receive a mandatory life sentence with no chance of parole for at least 7 years. Court heard Gerald Crayford was attacked during a robbery in May 2011. An adult co-accused who is also charged with second-degree murder remains before the courts. On to something a little more pleasant now. The Keystone Centre was full of rodeo action this past weekend. The Wheat City Stampede held the Manitoba Rodeo Cowboys Association finals, but Sunday was the day for the young prospects to shine for the Manitoba High School Association. Westman Newsline's own Dylan Donald has this report.
This past Sunday, the Manitoba High School Rodeo Association made a stop at Brandon's Keystone Centre to showcase the talent of up-and-coming riders. In order for the entire event to go off without a hitch, everyone looks to one man for the job. Art Cochran is the arena director for the MHRA and assures everyone is where they need to be when they need to be there. Not only does Art keep things going smoothly, he also helped get the High School Rodeo Association here in Manitoba.
A group of us got together and thought we'd organize a High School Rodeo Association in Manitoba, which we did in '95. And we held our first finals in 1996. We started out with about 35 kids or 33 kids, something like that. And now we have 65 high school kids and we have 36 junior high kids.
Art has always had a love of rodeo and through the years has shared his passion with his daughter, who was a member of the Manitoba High School Rodeo Association, and now his granddaughter Janelle, who is competing with the MHRA.
We didn't really used to see Grandpa a lot since he lives 2 hours away, and now we get to see him pretty much every weekend.
Art is very involved with the rodeo, but ensures that all the students focus on the education aspect first, as well as properly caring for the animals. For Westman Newsline, with photographer Calvin Henry on, I'm Dylan Donald.
The markets are being a little finicky today, with some things sliding and others improving. Here's a look at where the numbers are currently sitting.
You're watching Westman Newsline, produced by the media production students of Assiniboine Community College. Local news, weather, and sports only on Westman Newsline, airing on WCG-TV at 1 p.m. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
A Western farm group is raising the alarm about proposed changes to the Canada Grain Act. The Canadian Wheat Board Alliance says the Harper government wants to remove mandatory inward inspections at grain terminals. Bill Gell, a grain farmer outside of Regina, says changes to the Grain Act means contaminated grain may not be caught until it arrives at a customer's uploading facility. He says that could lead to the same impact on the grain sector as the recent XL Foods E. coli beef recall has had on the beef industry. Proposed changes to the Grain Act are included in the Conservative government's omnibus budget bill introduced last week in Parliament. Turning to international news now, the battle in Boca is in the books and the 2012 presidential debates are history. The candidates wrapped up their third face-to-face showdown last night in Florida, and a poll gives the advantage to President Obama. Sandra Endo was in Boca Raton this morning.
It wasn't as heated as the second debate, but this final showdown did have plenty of fireworks and fiery exchanges.
Nothing Governor Romney just said is true.
Attacking me is not talking about how we're going to deal with the challenges that exist in the Middle East.
The debate focused on foreign policy, and there was one topic both candidates agreed on.
I congratulate him on taking out Osama bin Laden and going after the leadership in al-Qaeda.
The sparring points ranged from Libya to Afghanistan to Syria.
What we can't do is to simply suggest that, as Governor Romney at times has suggested, that giving heavy weapons, for example, to the Syrian opposition is a simple proposition that would lead us to be safer over the long term.
We should be playing the leadership role there, not on the ground with military.
And the strength of the U.S. military.
We're blessed with terrific soldiers and extraordinary technology and intelligence. But the idea of $1 trillion in cuts through sequestration and budget cuts to the military would change that.
I think Governor Romney maybe hasn't spent enough time looking at how our military works.
Each candidate got one final chance to make a pitch to voters watching the debates.
I know what it takes to get this country back, and we'll work with good Democrats and good Republicans to do that.
Over the last 4 years, we've made real progress digging our way out of policies that gave us 2 prolonged wars, record deficits, and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression.
The next and final showdown comes November 6th, when voters head to the polls.
The candidates are now sprinting to the finish, crisscrossing the country to make the push in key battleground states to get out the vote. In Boca Raton, Florida, I'm Sandra Endo.
That's it for news, but stay tuned. Dylan's up next with Newsline Weather.
Good afternoon. With Newsline Weather, I'm Dylan Donald. Well, it's been a possibility for the last few days, and now it's finally happening. Rain and lots of rain, and we can expect it to last for most of today. Currently in Brandon, it's 4 degrees with light rain. Winds are out of the west at 22 kilometers an hour. This evening, the temperature should hover around 6 degrees with continuing light rain. There's a 90% chance of these showers will continue, and the winds will be out of the west at 15 kilometers an hour. Overnight, the temperatures will dip down to +2 with 60% chance of showers. Winds should be 30 kilometers an hour out of the west. Looking at our radar image now, there's a precipitous cell that seems quite comfortable hanging around Manitoba, and which has brought us all the rain overnight. That rain's going to continue for much of the day. Turning to our satellite image now, you'll see that the heavy clouds that have darkened our skies this morning are going to be with us for a while. Taking a look at the 5-day forecast, Wednesday should have a high of +2 degrees, cloudy sky, and there is a 30% chance of showers. Winds will be out of the west at 25 kilometers an hour with a low of 0. Thursday, cloudy with a high of 1. 30% chance of showers and winds will be 25 kilometers out of the west. The low should be around -3. Friday, the cloudy periods will continue with a high of -1 and a low of -6. There will be a 30% chance of rain and winds will be out of the northwest at 30 kilometers an hour. Taking a look at the weekend, Saturday should be partly cloudy, a high of -2, and winds will be gusting from the northwest at 15 kilometers an hour, and the low will be -8. Sunday, the sun should finally break through, but it will be unusually cold, a high of 0 and the low of -10. There's a 20% chance of showers, winds out of the east at 15 kilometers an hour. Taking a look at the region, Winnipeg is sitting at 7 degrees, while Portage la Prairie is 6. Neepawa, Dauphin, and Minnedosa are all seeing 4 degrees, while Carberry and Killarney are seeing 5. Verdun is also seeing 5 degrees. Seasonal highs for this time of year is 9 degrees and the low of -4. The record high was set back in 1963 of 23.3 degrees. The record low was a -3.8 way back in 1976. Currently in Brandon, we're seeing light rain. Winds are out of the east at 22 kilometers an hour, and the temperature is 4 degrees. That's it for weather, but stick around. Jordan's up next with Newsline Sports.
Good afternoon with Newsline Sports. I'm Jordan Olson. The Wheat Kings have acquired Red Deer Rebels forward Chad Robinson in exchange for a conditional 7th-round pick in the 2014 WHL Bantam Draft. Having 1 goal and 1 assist in 9 games this year and 8 goals and 36 points in 67 games after last season with the Rebels, Robinson will be contributing immediately to the team after the loss of veteran forward Daniel Asham, who quit unexpectedly last week, and Jason Swaripa, who is out with an injury. Robinson will join the Wheat Kings for Game 4 tonight of their 7-game West Coast road trip. The San Francisco Giants blasted St. Louis Cardinals 9-0 in Game 7 of the National League Series last night and will face Detroit for the championship. Game 1 of that series goes tomorrow. It's the first time the teams have ever met in baseball's Fall Classic. The NHL Players Association has left questioning for the league's motives after the news surfaced today that team owners and general managers were given a 48-hour window last week to speak with players about the NHL's latest contract offer. Steve Fear, the NHLPA Special Counsel, said most of the owners are not allowed to attend bargaining meetings and no owners are allowed to speak to the media about the bargaining. Fear said he finds it interesting that owners and managers were secretly allowed to talk to the players about the meetings. The players can attend, but owners cannot. The window was granted at the same time the NHL took the usual step of publishing its entire proposal on its website last Wednesday. According to a senior league official, team employees were told they could answer questions about the offer from players until midnight last Friday. Since the lockout on September 15th, the NHL has forbidden contact between team officials and the lockout players. The NFL is looking at canceling Pro Bowl in a radio interview. Commissioner Roger Goodell called last January's All-Star Game embarrassing and said the event will be scrubbed if it isn't better this time around. He said Pro Bowl teams would still be selected, but the game itself wouldn't be played. In Monday Night Football action, Chicago Bears defeated the Detroit Lions 13-7. And Colton, that's it for sports.
Thanks, Jordan. So Chad Robinson going to make the start for the Wheat Kings tonight. Do you see him having a bit of an impact for the team?
Definitely, with the experience he's already carrying from the Red Deer Rebels, he definitely is a contender to be one of the top stars in the Wheat Kings now.
Yeah, like you said, hopefully he can have a bit of a better contribution than he had at Red Deer, playing in front of a lot of hometown friends and family of his hometown in Minnedosa. Congratulations to Chad, and we hope that everything goes well for him. That's all the time we have for you today. Be sure to join us again tomorrow for Brandon's only TV newscast, Westman Newsline.